Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the 1111 Spiritual Transit Podcast with your host, Jay, all the way from Australia, and myself, Jackie, from Canada. Give us a moment to introduce ourselves. Jay, why don't you go first?
Well, apparently, I want to give credit to you for this intro, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this new purpose and looking at myself exactly what I am. That's another topic for another day. But I have 27 years experience in the health, fitness, and well-being community. I'm a motivational speaker, spiritual healer, author, and generally nice guy, if you want to go that way. But and a comedian, obviously a part-time comedian. But I'm here to inspire people through my contagious energy to get to the best purpose of your life, get to your best, and also your purpose in life. That's what we want to make sure we find out. Big shout out to yourself, Mark Merrow, and I've got another shout out later. How about yourself? What do you do for a living?
Well, I am a holistic energy healer specializing in harnessing the power of the Akashic Records. And we want to thank you all for joining us today as we meet weekly to discuss the challenges that we face during our spiritual ascension. Today, we are going to focus on all things intuition. So we have some questions that have come through. What is intuition? How do we tap into it? And are you utilizing your intuition, Jay? So maybe I'll throw that over to you and let you get started on that.
Absolutely. So the first thing, ladies and gentlemen, we got a few questions the last couple of weeks about getting yourself understanding what intuition really is. And people go, oh, follow your intuition, do this, do this, do this. But people don't know what they're actually understand exactly what they're actually doing with regards to it. The other thing is, which I got another question about, was between your intuition and actually thought patterns within your mind. So are these thoughts coming through? Is it your intuition coming through? I basically want to say your intuition is basically your gut feeling, your solar plexus. That's where we're going. I think it's roughly the fifth chakra, if I'm right. Sorry, it's 9:30. I just woke up and I'm starting to get a bit of starting to get fired up for the day. So you're looking at your solar plexus to say, what is your gut feeling? What's actually happening within your gut? If you're looking at a situation, it's not a case of going left or right, but it's a decision that you're making. Maybe it could be an impromptu decision that you have to go out somewhere, or which way do I go? But it could be a deeper lesson to say, okay, I've got this opportunity. Do I take it? So my belief with intuition is the number one thing that I've learned. I want to give a big shout out to Ira Moffrey. She's a metaphysical guide that actually, we went through this a couple of months ago. And our discussion with the intuition is basically your first thought. Now, your first thought that comes into your head is your intuition and the stuff that should be coming from your gut or from your solar plexus. So the next part of it is where we have issues with is actually letting our egos basically override our intuition. Now, there's two questions with that. There's two answers that I'd like to go through that really quickly. So obviously with your intuition, you don't go, you have your thought and you go, right, I'm going to go through with the thought. But it's not like you still have a choice of how you actually process that thought or that thinking process that you've come through. It's come through your solar plexus, come through your intuition as such. How to actually process that. Then there's another point where you let your ego come in and you try to talk yourself out of it. And that's where, okay, I'm going to start talking shadow work. That's where the shadow work comes in, where you put your ego on top of your intuition, go, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, because of the past programming. That's when you start having awareness of the shadow. Let's put that to the side for the minute, because it's going to start getting confused. Like I usually confuse people, because I get all these things here. She's laughing because she knows. I need to put a collar on me or something. I need to be chained up or something.
It's anyway. Passion, though. You speak with such passion, so I mean, it radiates when you get excited.
Isn't she lovely? I didn't have to pay her a cent for this, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'm accepting donations.
we are accepting donations if you like. But basically, intuition, ladies and gentlemen, and the way I've understood it, especially becoming aware in the last couple of years, especially the last 6 months, is understanding that what comes into your solar plexus is basically the first thought. We don't put any real ego or any thought into it to crush it down. You analyze that thought for the way it is. If you have to go left or do a course or go go to Perth, go to Canada, go to this, go to that. You understand that that is the thought, and you process that thought through your heart chakra. Then you go, okay, what is it really towards your heart? What's actually going on with that thought? Because that when you get really into your intuition, or really feel or become part of yourself and become part of the universe, and also the grounding, the Kundalini effect, you really resonate with those thoughts that come through. So they are the true thoughts. It's like, for example, for me this week, I am going on an overseas trip. Now I've had this thing go, I'm going to England, going to do this, going to do that. Now, yesterday, I messaged this poor lady and go, oh, guess what? I'm coming to Canada. Now, the reason why that was because the intuition for me, something came to me yesterday to say, rightio, I went into a flight, it's called Flight Center, where you go book your flights and all that kind of stuff. The information that he gave me basically clicked in. So I was meant to go in there. I was drawn into that place, and then that fueled my thoughts into where I was going to go. So they thought into the heart, into the soul place to go, right, what makes more sense? And then it actually, you feel the flow and feel the balance within that decision that you make. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do over in Canada at that time. I go, obviously, to go see my lovely friend, but what's going to happen afterwards? So you think, hang on, that's crazy. Then what you do is, after you give it time to process, it's like, baking a cake, you know what I mean? You give it a couple of minutes, and then you go, right, okay, so I'm sitting there with my daughter going, right, this is what we're going to do. And so I've gone, right, I'm going to go and chase down Brett the Hitman Hart. I'm going to go to the Hart family dungeon. I'm going to go and visit Jackie. I'm going to go chase the bears in the forest in Yellowstone. Yeah, that'll be great. Smart.
I think Yellowstone's
cookie.
in the
Smart cookie.
There is no Yellowstone in Canada. That's in the States.
Oh, okay. There you go. See, it's too early in the morning.
There is a
but you get where I'm going. So then it comes to a point where I might go to LA. So everything's changed because of this one piece of information that I took within my heart and understood. I didn't go, I didn't have that, oh my God, what am I going to do? I actually processed it probably because of the work I've been doing. So that's where the intuition came. Well, intuition is your first thought, and then you go into your heart chakra. So you move from here to here. That's only my idea of it. So I'm actually processing that thought, and then once I actually sat down and processed, instead of running around like the Flash 5 million Ks an hour, I actually said, right, this is what could happen. And then you go from there, then you start making those changes and processes. And it's, there you go. I've just talked about 150,000 things.
I agree with you. I believe your intuition is your gut feeling, your inner guidance, that first thought, no matter how crazy or obscure it is, usually is right, especially in my experience. Learning to trust that first thought was the challenge, like you said. But I agree with you on that for the intuition part as too.
Okay, so what about, so I've given my definition of what I think intuition is. What do you, since you've been, I guess, more aware, and this is probably coming towards what people are looking at now, if they're coming to join us and ask about the intuition, what was your preconceived thoughts on it, or your understanding, and now what is it because you become aware?
Well, I've always kind of had the same thoughts on it, and it continues to this day. I just trust in it more. Is that we are mammals. We are, animals at our core. So we have this embedded intuition. And if you look back 200-300 years ago, individuals were a little bit more tapped into connecting to their intuition because, there wasn't as many phones or devices. You needed to know if an army that's coming down the road is good or bad, and you had this better ability to sense those things within you. So it is really your gut feeling and that inner guidance. We get disconnected from our intuition by everyday choices. Our subconscious mind keeps us disconnected from our intuition as taking the easier path or the easiest choice. I would say pretty much in alignment to what you went through. It's really taking that thought, bringing it into your heart, and seeing how that works for you. And it doesn't mean making irrational decisions. It means taking that thought, taking that time to contemplate it, understand how you feel about it from your heart chakra without allowing limited or negative beliefs to kind of creep in, and just really sit with that and understand how it makes you feel inside. And your feelings should then allow you to understand if it's a positive or negative thought, or you know, a subconscious programmed thought or an intuitive thought. And as you get better and more connected to yourself, you'll be a lot easier to discern which one of those are for yourself. I
Absolutely.
do the same process.
Absolutely. I think basically going into that, it's about, you said about feelings and the actual thought processes. Feelings have emotion to it. So you're sort of trapping that ego and subconscious mind to it, so you understand what a feeling is. So understanding the shadow, how it works with the work I've actually done. A lot of it, when you turn the lessons upon yourself, you can really distinguish between what's going on with regards to that, and saying, you know, is it a repeat pattern and all those things, where the intuition that you're trying to develop, not even trying to develop, you all have it. It's a case of being yourself and understanding and becoming true to yourself. If you do the work and become true to yourself and get rid of those blocks, you'll go with that. And I think it comes down to, see all these universal laws that come in. You got flow, like going with the flow, don't force. No one's, first thing, Aaron Doherty, you know, Louise Hay, all these great spiritual teachers, Wayne Dyer, they always say don't force. You see this, and then even with intuition, and the way that comes in together is you don't force it. If you force it, it's the law. It's against the law of flow. It's against the law of importance. You're putting too much importance into it. You're understanding it. You're using it like in like Marcus Aurelius back in the day. He used to write about it. He used to write about being stoic and just sitting within your thoughts. So once you take that step back, we live in this world where it's all crazy, social media, all this kind of garbage that's going on. It's great. It's the way you use it. But I think losing where especially a lot of people, Danny Searle, I want to shout him out, because he says it's a very exciting time to be out here, because everyone's becoming more aware, and we are getting more awareness within the community. You see what's happening. TikTok's great for that. Okay, you can see the amount of people. I want to do a big shout out to Ron Polax. Hopefully he'll be listening today. He did an interview with me last night. It's his first interview, but he has become aware, and the stuff that he's been talking about, it's been amazing. So there's a lot of people, a lot of white lighters waking up to what's going on. There's a lot of people who are joining the chorus, if they want to say that way, and really waking up to themselves and becoming more connected to the ground and the earth we live in, because we are mammals, because, you know, obviously we've been trying to take away, and we won't go into that yet. Wait till I get into that one. The new He-Man film, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, I tell you, if I want to review the new He-Man film, my God, look out. I can relate that to what I think is going to happen, what's happening in the future. We won't go there yet, but
not today.
Watch the can of worms. I might even do it. I might even get fired up and do it myself. Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
did you have some questions for us today that people?
We do. I'm just checking. Yeah, I do check out. I've just got to get it on my computer because I'm on my phone at the moment. So,
no problem.
So we're looking at the intuition side of things. The one I got was how much does the ego play a part in your decision making? And I think we've answered that one, but we will answer it again. I'll get your thoughts on it. How much does the ego play within the decision making process, and how does it affect your intuition?
I guess it would be, for me, I would consider that to be depending on how large or small you are connected to your ego. Some people already have very healthy egoic desire. So I don't know that would be limited to just being able to answer that the same for every person. But each person, depending on their challenges facing their own ego itself, that would then determine how much is going to play into that. For myself, I don't think my ego plays a big part in it at all. Mine would be negative subconscious programming that comes into play, and it's not so much the ego as it is just repetitive programs of limiting beliefs on myself and my decision making, and that is probably the bigger one in my situation, and that one I can relate to a bit more than saying ego, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm the same. So with regards, I'll say that, subconscious programming and understanding myself, as I said, looking at the shadow. I'm going to go back to the shadow. Well, that really plays a big part in how I've understood myself and understood why I did what I did. Repeat patterns. I had a lovely reading with with this lovely lady at the Akashic Records. Hint, hint, Akashic Records, book her now. Okay, Dallas Page, yes, I know, I'm a self-promoter just like yourself. That really opened up what I understood about myself. And the way to relate that to intuition is blocks. As you said, people always talk about blocks and negative blocks, whether it be guides, whether it be subconscious, whether it be whatever, however it is, your environment, whatever's blocking you within regards to accessing that pure self. You go through what you need to go through. You might have to talk about your shadow with myself. You might have to do the Akashic record reads. I don't know. Astrology is a big thing. Obviously, we're both of us are massive into astrology. Big shout out to Diana, who trailblazes the universe, who's right into all the portals and all that stuff that have been opening up. Portals and also the astrological changes within the world that's been happening. It's been huge last year. But going back to what that means, it's basically looking within yourself. Going back to yourself, finding yourself. People go, oh my God, I can't find myself. There's so much stuff that we can look at, and just having a simple idea of what we need as people. And it's very hard these days, I tell you. It's very hard to do that, because I mean, we all been through it. I mean, 5 years ago I had the breakdown. So, you know, story I could talk about a bit later, but and just having that perspective of where it is and understanding that it's a huge thing.
Yep.
So we've got one more. I've got one more question with regards to this. Is we're looking at the intuition and the message that you get. Do they relate to dreams?
I would say yes. I only recently started dreaming again within the last 30 days. I had been blocking myself through excessive use of marijuana. I think we already talked about this last week or the week before, but now I'm dreaming nonstop. So I have started to create a dream journal on my cell phone. I'm actually dreaming 2 or 3 times a night now. I have not yet put any of those into, I haven't gone back and reviewed it yet. It's only been 30 days, but they're really starting to come strong. So I know that there's a lot of things that I had been blocking, because some of this stuff is coming out of my past or past experiences. And it's like a replay of the same kind of scenario. But yeah, I mean, I had a dream about my best friend who had passed away. And that day, her mom called me, and I honestly haven't talked to her mom since she passed away. And it happened that exact day. So it was like, I felt this kind of intuitive message to expect something from, and then it kind of followed through by her mom calling me that day. So 100% your dreams have intuitive messages, but
fantastic.
I mean, I'm not sure 100% on how to tap into all of that yet.
Can I just give a big shout out to Niche Baby? Thank you very much for the nice comments over here. Yep. Yeah, it is a beautiful concept what we're talking about with this intuition and dreams that come in. Now, I've been dreaming for the last 6 months, 7 months. I don't know. It's out of control, really. But I think the connection to myself and my heart chakra, connecting to my intuition, is all come out now. The interpretation of these dreams, what I do is I mean, I've gone a little bit off topic, so I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but dream interpretation for me is when you turn it around, to yourself. You might have random things like, what does this mean? Why have I got this and this and this? Look at the pure sense of what's going on. There's always a lesson within it. Now, whether that everyone says, "Oh, dreams are future predicting," yeah, maybe. I don't know that. I'm not an expert in that. But what it is, sorry to cut you off there. Yep, Nash Baby. She just said she's been more connected to her intuition since her mum passed away 2 years ago. There's another sense that you might have someone connected, that you might be getting more connected within yourself and connected to the universe because someone's guiding you. We can talk about spirit guides later. There we go. There's another one, Jack. We can talk about spirit guides. But getting back to the topic with regards to the dreams and intuition, these thoughts that come through, in my belief, are messaged about yourself. So, and then the intuition is understanding, having that power, or that bat belt of gifts, as I call it, that superpower, to understand. G'day, Paul from the Art Garden. Sorry, he's a big supporter of us. Sorry, Jack, if I'm jumping up and down. Say hello to these people. They've been big supporters of ours. So thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
You're a legend, mate. Hit that heart, mate, for us. I'm shameless. I'm shameless. Ex-pro wrestler, ex-Australian champion, mate. Ex-Australian wrestling champion, mate. I'm shameless. But basically using the intuition and the heart to interpret what's going on up here. My belief is it's giving me a message of some sort. So and the intuition goes, what's the first thing that comes to me when I think of that? I don't have to overanalyze about, whether I was in an SAS camp. I was in an SAS camp a couple of days ago. I'm going, yeah, all right, you're in the Navy, village people, or but it's about training yourself, being in discipline, having new sets and regimes. It wasn't. None of my dreams are bad. None of them. They're not nightmarish, if you want to put it that way. All right, but I had to sort of look at it, and the first thing you go with the first thing that comes to you, and write that down. That's what I did. I was swimming, and so I was training. I was just saying what we're doing now. Jackie and I are training ourselves in our new selves, understanding our new selves. So
and something I want to say is that my intuition started to really expand once I learned to trust myself. When I was able to trust my decision making in the physical world, it was a lot easier to trust my intuition in the spiritual world, and it came as more of an inner knowing than. Some people have downloads and they immediately know what that thought is. Mine just comes in slowly as intuitive, inner knowing. And it's just all of a sudden, I just have this knowing that I'm supposed to do something or go somewhere. And not necessarily is there clear-cut signs that have been pointed out for me. Sometimes there very much is, like a very strong dream or, a sign you keep seeing that is so clear-cut you can't not see it. But it did just come in a lot of the times. It's just an inner knowing. And as I learned to trust myself more and more, those feelings got stronger and stronger. And it was really a lot easier to live and manage that type of energy from a place of self-trust. So there's so many ways your intuition is guiding you, and don't be limited to, those ones that we're talking about today. For you, in very different ways.
Well, let's be honest about this morning, okay? So here I get up, it's early in the morning, right? And, half asleep, you know how it goes. And Jackie and I are on this working out. There's a couple of topics that came up during the week. We get questions from people, right? So we had the back and forth discussion. I'm half asleep, and I have to apologise live on air because when I get up, I've got so many things going through my head. It's like starting a car and getting moving. Once I get moving, I go crazy. So this lady is wonderful, trust me. But we had a couple, and then I said to her, look, my intuition is saying talk about intuition today. And it was a perfect topic. I have to go with it. So this is exactly where we're talking about what I felt was going on. And Jackie said, what do you reckon? I go, and then she's going, we'll do masculine, feminine energy, which we'll talk about very soon. And then I've just gone, nah, it's intuition. It has to go. And I appreciate her changing the thing, because we did get a few questions during the week. We had a few people ask different questions, and getting that feel of what to talk about. We did the right thing today. We did the right thing today, talking about intuition and the effect it has upon us.
Yep, agreed.
So on that note, we're going to call it. What I want you to do, Jack, you want to tell us a little bit about your other podcast, which is which is an absolute ripper with Elizabeth. Do you want to give us a quick rundown about that?
As well. It launches, or a new episode launches tonight on Spotify. It is called Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality. And you can find that tonight at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. It is all about, I guess, breaking down the controversial topics and really learning to understand ourselves on a deeper level and letting go of limitations and triggers around these topics. And we really talk about it in an open and loving format, and it can get really deep. So check it out. I won't give you guys too much information. I'd love for you to figure it out yourself. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just shoot that over to me.
Shoot that over to Jackie at Akashic Record Readings. So that's a great podcast. Been listening to that regularly.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great. So you can see the difference between we're going specific topics and we will bring our spin on it. Obviously, have it. And the best thing about this is you got a double feminine energy on one. You got a male female energy on this one, so you can see the way that the world is working when you got different energies working. So I want to do a big shout out. I've been doing a lot of interviews the last week. We've got Grace from Elevated Spa. We've got Annabelle Avaya. She was on there a couple of days ago. Last night did one with big Ronnie Polax. He's a big supporter from Sydney. Loves our stuff. So now there's a white light coming at you, Jackie. Right now, I can see the white light just came behind you.
Oh yeah, it's coming. I see it.
It's coming. Yeah, it just came up when I said that. So we're on the right path. Love doing the interviews. If you want to be interviewed, please send a DM to either myself, Words of the Warrior on TikTok, or Jackie. It's becoming even more white. That's even fantastic, more better. Great English I've got.
Glowing.
Or you can send one to Jackie as well. Just if you want to be involved and be interviewed, it's a forum for you to get out, and we're trying to get as many people in there to tell their story, spread it to the world. And yeah, I love the interview process because it's just what I do. So we're looking forward to doing that in the future. We're going to have a tag team partner on there. So we've got that. If you want to find us, Journey to the White Feather on YouTube, Spotify. We're on Spotify as well, and also SoundCloud. You can check us all out. Journey of a White Feather, Words of the Warrior, and Akashic Record readings, and obviously Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality with Jackie and, of course, Elizabeth. And a big shout out to Life Theories too. We do so much. It's got to go try and get this a little bit better if I can. But
it's different when it's live because you're live. So it's not. When you're on a podcast where nobody's looking at you face on, you can have your little cue cards and it'll be. It's a different. So
and this is exactly right.
That's what I love about the live. You know,
exactly.
It's so natural. You get it in your regular vibe. You get that real back and forth between us, which you don't necessarily get on a pre-recorded podcast. So that's the benefit of me and you, Jay.
Absolutely. The live, and you got pre-taped. I pre-taped the chats. So yeah, and when you're on here, guys, if you come past, just hit a few loves. We all love the loves. You know, give love to everyone because love makes the world go round. You know, love is in the air. Put John Paul Young. There you go, the 80s again. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we hit a bit of a close. Thank you so much for joining us. And always remember that when you get up in the morning, remember that Bret the Hitman Hart, WWF Hall of Famer and champion, heavyweight champion, is coming down to Australia soon, so hopefully get to meet him. Always be the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. You'll see it at the end of this. We're gone pink and black, and what can I say? Make sure you be your best self. Take care. Love yous all. From Jackie over in Canada, myself over in Australia, Jay. This is the 1111 Spiritual Transit Podcast, and we will catch you soon. Always rock on.
Love
Take
and
care.
light. Bye.
Bye-bye.